What a game that was. What a game. I remember clearly in that pre-match analysis, I was emphasizing that I've seen Mauricio Pochettino with his Espanyol side against Pep Guardiola. I've seen him several times with Southampton play against Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City, against Pep Guardiola. In those Barcelona derbies where Espanyol had to go toe-to-toe, his Espanyol team had to go toe-to-toe against Pep Guardiola's side, it was something else. The emotions, the intensity of the game. But boy, this is the next level. First time since the 90s that these two teams have played, and in the first half, both have scored 2. First time that these number of goals is appearing from both sides and it's ending in a draw at the same time. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. I'm grateful to have had you here. Thank you for choosing this channel. If you've not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now because I have a lot to unpack for you. I'm grateful for you choosing us, for you choosing Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube, subscribing to the channel, and then do choosing all anytime you subscribe and turn on your notifications. I'm grateful to be here. Let's get straight into it. So Mauricio Pochettino essentially went into this game with a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, everybody knew that Manchester City were the outright favorites in this game. I, for one, agree that City were favorites in this game. And the only thing I was rest assured was that there were going to be goals in this game, because Chelsea seem to know how to mix it up anytime they are playing against the big boys in the English Premier League. I mean, the top 6 teams. But City aren't just a top 6 team. It's essentially the best team in the world. It's essentially the best team in the league. It's essentially the kind of team that you go to play with and you are careful. But my first check for Mauricio Pochettino is the fact that he made sure that he was brave and wasn't scared of anything that City were going to throw at them. Pochettino wasn't scared at anything that City were going to throw at him. I can't find my pen. Well, there it is. Pochettino wasn't scared at anything that City were going to throw at them. He went into that game 4-2-3-1. The bigger question was, and these are things that I asked in the pre-match analysis, how do you press City? Do you go man for man? Do you go and sit in a mid-block and allow them to play? Or do you mix it up? Pochettino said, hey, we will mix the press up. So you look at that 4-2-3-1 where Enzo Fernandez partnered Moise Caicedo in the middle of the park, and you had Conor Gallagher right on top of them, and then Cole Palmer came inverted. This is the off-the-ball structure. Now, the problem was that City are obviously going to build with a 3. In this case, it was Akanji, Diaz, and then Josko Vardiol. These are 3 excellent manipulators of space and ball progressive centre-backs that you get in the world. And when you add Kyle Walker, who essentially never really inverted, but stayed out wide, then make sure that there is that double pivot of Bernardo Silva, who starts centrally, but then end up in wide areas. The brilliance in everything that Mauricio Pochettino did in Chelsea's off-the-ball structure really answered the questions that Pep threw at them. First of all, it is the fact that in the off-the-ball structure that Chelsea had in this game, they didn't just go following players. It was simple. When Manchester City have the ball with a 3-man up top and they are pressing, do not go following them. Sit back and then make sure you track the runners of central areas. So a lot of the times when you play against a lot of teams, when you say, okay, you are causing a lot of central blockage, you know that there isn't enough of motion between in the central areas. But Pep Guardiola and Manchester City are excellent at that. Julian Alvarez essentially is an attacker, plays from out wide, but in this season, he has played most of the times from central areas. So he starts from wide areas, drop into the pocket, receives the ball, goes out wide, and does all of those things, pulling centre backs and full backs out to their position. Same for Foden, same for Bernardo Silva, who is the king of control. And you see, one of the reasons why I am so proud of this Chelsea team is the fact that you look at the XG table again in teams that have played each other. Matches that involving Manchester City have the least XG. And that is simple. Interpreting that, it means that anytime Manchester City are playing against any team at all, especially the big boys, they go and exert total control using Bernardo Silva, using Julian Alvarez in central areas, using Phil Foden, and then the 3 excellent progressors of the ball in the first phase, the manipulators of space. That is what they do. Now, for Chelsea to go toe-to-toe and then throw that control of Pep Guardiola and his Manchester City team in the bin making sure that they block central control. That was brilliant. And in the blockade of central control, it was the use of Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Conor Gallagher, and sometimes Cole Palmer. Because in the first half, I will see Moises Caicedo for one, blocking passing lane, but then looking straight with the side of the eye to the right hand side because he knows that Jeremy Doku and then Bernardo Silva are overloading regimes in the wide area. So he knows that, okay, fine, these people are going to go to the wide area, but I can't vacate the central area. So I need to use a proper body orientation and then find a way to stop that. Immediately the ball goes long, he goes to partner regimes in that regard. And that was part of the plays that I thought I was going to also try and Chelsea were going to try and win the game from. The underlapping and overlapping runs of Bernardo Silva, anytime Doku gets on the ball, anytime Jack Grealish gets on the ball. And it proved successful. There was a pattern of play in about the first 15 minutes where Enzo Fernandez consistently clashed with his country mate Julian Alvarez. And it was simple. Enzo was doing a defensive job. Alvarez was doing an attacking job. Mauricio Pochettino is an Argentine. Enzo is an Argentine. Alvarez is an Argentine. He had told him consistently, this is how Pochettino uses your compatriots in the middle of the park. He uses it essentially to morrow those house spaces, occupy those left and right house spaces, and then get into the pockets anytime they are progressing to win the ball. So you can sit in a mid block. But if you are not shuffling and tracking the runs of Alvarez, Foden, and then Bernardo Silva, you are in trouble. They'll pick you apart. And they did a brilliant job, especially for Conor Gallagher, and then Cole Palmer, and then, of course, Enzo Fernandez. I've said it several times that Conor Gallagher was never a finished player. Never. If you watch him, you realize that he's brilliant. Now, on Twitter again, I'd gone in and I said that Manchester United did the same thing in the 3-2 area. Same thing as what Chelsea are doing, especially in the wide area. But the only difference between what Chelsea did and Manchester United did was intensity from Conor Gallagher. Intensity to lead the press. He embodies everything, press and intensity in that Chelsea team. That's why even when today, I think that he didn't even get his best game. You can't take him off. You just cannot take him off because it's the intensity he brings to the squad. It is the kind of ability to follow the ball, win the ball back, and then push the boys to get into it. That for me is exciting. And I look at this part of the game and I'm like, whoa, that was brilliant. That was brilliant stuff. So that was Chelsea's on the ball, off the ball structure with clogging central areas and tracking runners, Julian Alvarez, Phil Foden, and the likes in the middle of the pack. It was an exciting thing to do, and it was something exciting that I would watch. Usually I'm watching games like this and I'm taking notes. I could not take a single note. I had to make sure I remember every detail and take pictures, however, and then so I can use it for this analysis for you. It was brilliant. Guys, if you've watched this extent and I need to remind you to subscribe to the channel, you should subscribe to the channel, turn on notification, and then do choose all. Yeah, so that was it. Now you go to how City were trying to answer those questions from Mauricio Pochettino. Josep Guardiola knew that Pochettino can spring up the surprise against him. So a lot of the times, he knew that there was a need for set pieces, and set pieces were going to be very important. First ball that Chelsea conceded was from a cross, from a set piece and a cross, and then Marco Correa goes in with that. I have issues with that penalty, but that's not the reason why I'm here. Then the second goal from Manchester City also goes in like that, and that's exactly. Now, the only time Chelsea went man for man, you remember in the pre-match analysis, and if you've not subscribed to the channel, you go back and watch the pre-match analysis, you subscribe so that you get subsequent videos. The first thing I did mention was that immediately Chelsea goes man for man, they will find Erling Haaland. I think Mauricio Pochettino's plan was to use Moises Caicedo to stay behind him for him to track his run. So anytime Chelsea go man for man, Caicedo will not join the press. He will stay right close to Erling Haaland and nick the ball off him. But then immediately Chelsea did that and Caicedo failed to nick the ball off Erling Braut Haaland. The ball went inside and then Erling Haaland scored that ball, which was, it was a scrappy goal, however, but it was brilliant display from City and how they played. Now, back to Chelsea's on-the-ball structure. That was an on-the-ball structure that I was particularly excited about because you look at that on-the-ball structure and you're looking at two things. First of all, how are Chelsea going to play out from the back? I think essentially one of the things that helped was Marco Correa and his very good job that he does in the first phase. I remember when he was going to Manchester United and then there were rumors that he was going to leave. I kept on saying that I do not think that Marco Correa should go to Manchester United because there's a lot more to him as a player that Chelsea can use. And in a game like this where Levico was injured, he proved to be very important, coming inverted and building. And you see Chelsea's build up at the back was essentially Marco Correa, Thiago Silva and Axel de Sassi, so they could push Reece James out to play as an extra winger. Then Sterling, then Cole Palmer will come inside like I did in the pre-match analysis. Now that afforded Chelsea a lot of time on the ball, a lot of bodies from outside to overload City from those areas. And anytime Cole Palmer also came inverted, Chelsea were able to form that excellent box midfield that we did speak about yesterday again, because Cole Palmer, Conor Gallagher at the top, and then you have Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo in that area, making sure that they add a lot of bites in central areas to receive the ball and then play forward. So it was brilliant stuff. Now you go back to that Thiago Silva goal and you look at the job that my man Cole Palmer again does in the lead up to the goal. He stays in the box, wait for Thiago Silva. He knows that Thiago Silva is going to make that dart and run, but it is his body orientation to use as a blocker against Erling Braut Haaland to close him down and then make sure that Thiago Silva can attack that space and then the goal comes in. You see, the most important aspect of this game isn't the tactical analysis I'm doing. It's essentially the reaction from the players. Earlier on in this season, if Chelsea had gone down by 1 goal, they could not have come back by 2-1. And if they had gone back up by 2-1 and they had been equalized and were down by 3-2, they couldn't have made it 3-3. And if at that point in time they are down by 3-3, they hell no couldn't have made it 4-3. It tells you how much the team is going. And consistently, I say that football analysis is not about results. Football analysis goes beyond just results. It's essentially about somebody that sees beyond just the results. Somebody that sees the very things that a team is building. And in a team that controls a lot of the game, Chelsea did absolutely brilliant in this game against Manchester City. Pep was good. I don't think City were bad in either ways. The change, however, to take off Reece James, bring on Malo Gusto, and then bring on Mihailo Modric was also splendid, because now you play Cole Palmer centrally. Once you play Cole Palmer centrally, then you have Caicedo and then Conor Gallagher as the base. Then these two up top. Then, of course, Mihailo Modric can play from outside and Raheem Sterling. But what a game from Raheem Sterling. What a game from Raheem Sterling. He has come under a lot of backlash this season for myself in some games as well. And I think that in a game where he has been brilliant, it is only right that I add, and I say that he has been brilliant. He was brilliant in that game against City today. Guys, this is an early reaction. Tomorrow again, we'll go into the analysis again. And that's going to be purely tactics. Purely tactics. But yeah, Chelsea have undone. Yes, not undone. We've done a brilliant job against Manchester City. 2-2 at the bridge. See ya.